Hello everybody, welcome to my update for Monday, the 2nd of November 2015. I'm Doc Eon and you're looking at everything I have completed from my normal painting queue since last Monday. This is apart from the miniatures I painted as part of the Spookytoberfest, of course. Now, if you're a regular watcher of my videos, you might be wondering what the heck is all this stuff. Apart from this guy, you will recognize him, I hope. He is the Bard, who was he's a Mantic miniature. He was a bonus mini from the Kings of War Kickstarter. I think he's supposed to represent one of the people who works there, maybe even the boss. The face conceivably sculpted to look like him. Out of what I showed you last Monday, that's all that's got done. But I felt the need to paint some more stuff that was simpler. And so, for example, I did this Swarm of Bats by Reaper Miniatures, which I painted in a dark reddish brown to separate them from the stone. I mean, most people probably paint bats sort of gray or black or blue, but in nature, a lot of bats are actually a brownish color, and I went for that in this case. And also by Reaper are these rat swarms, which are on stone floors. And finally, I don't know the manufacturers of all these, but I painted some scatter terrain in the shape of just resin. This is some sort of monument with a plaque on it. There's a broken off pillar. What I did here was try to practice painting stone in different colors, and not just paint everything the same shade of gray. That's boring. If you look at nature, rocks and stones come in many different colors, and stonework in buildings and the monuments also has many different colors and variations. This one has some sort of offering at the bottom. I don't know. Maybe it's poisoned well or something. I don't know. Anyway, that is the completed projects pile. Let's go on to works still in progress. So how are my works in progress progressing? Well, I'll show you the least progressed one first. This is Blaine. As you can see, I've done some painting of the base, and that's it. That's all I've done. This guy has kind of low priority, I have to admit, because I don't have any immediate ideas about how to paint him. So he'll be placed on the back burner, which is here. That's the back burner. As for the witches, there's been progression. I've worked on the metallic details, added some touches of metallic paint here and there. I've worked on the hair. I've highlighted up the hair. I'm not sure if you can tell. It is perhaps a little extreme in places, but it appears that way now, but when I add in the feathers and other stuff, it'll all look better. So these are progressing very, very slowly. I'd like to say but surely, but well, we'll see. And finally, we have these dwarfs who I've actually completed the skin tones on them. It's possible you can't really tell, but the skin is a different shade of gray than the primer. It's a gray with sort of undertones of pink and dark blue, actually, which I think will look striking once the other colors are on there. Apart from that, I've blacked out the areas that are going to be metal, so that's the next step, is adding various metallic paints to those areas. After that, I will go for the heavily textured areas, that is the hair and beards and the fur. For these guys, I at least have a clear plan. I know what colors I'm going to use. So they're not, they won't be stalled for very long. These will get done relatively soon. You are now looking at my new collection of prepped stuff ready for painting. First off, we have these 5 fantasy miniatures, which are, well, fantasy, they're pseudo-historical. They're the English from Redbox Games, which you will recall is the line I use for Frostgrave, and that's what these are intended for. They're additions to my Frostgrave warband. Panning over here, we have some, well, let's move the camera. We have some modern day minis. These are from Hassle Free. And they were just some random guys I felt like painting up. They are all a bit strange. This guy seems, oh well, it's a normal adventurer. He's, you know, dressed in normal clothing. He's got a cropped hair. He's got a shoulder holster. He looks like a tough guy. But he's actually also a dwarf, which is unusual for non-fantasy miniatures. Sorry, a little person. This girl is clearly intended to be Daphne from Scooby-Doo. They can't call her that, of course, but I'm going to paint her up to seem like that. This little kid, I wondered what it was at first. He's carrying a super soaker, a water gun. He's got a walkie-talkie. He's got a tinfoil hat on. And then it struck me, he must be the kid from Signs, the movie, you know, because they wore tinfoil hats there and the aliens were susceptible to water. Now, looking down here, we have some objective markers. These 4 that I've primed a different color are these crates in the chest. They are from the Strange Aeons set. They are intended for use as objective markers. I've simply put them on basis and added some dirt. These 2 rune stones here are resin pieces from somewhere else. I forget where. I just think bought them separately. But they are the right size to put on 30mm bases, so I will use them as some sort of markers as well. And finally, not prepped at all, we have all the rest of the Strange Aeons minis. We have the good guys in blue, and the bad guys in light green. So during the coming week, I'm hope to start prepping these to clean up all the mold lines and flashing and whatnot, and put them on basis. Like I said, I've decided to put them on these lip 30mm basis. This is going to be my big project for November, is painting up everything I have for Strange Aeons. That's a challenge I'm setting myself. You know, I wasn't actually planning on buying anything at all last week. Well, except from pre-ordering the new Frostgrave supplement, Thaw of the Lich Lord. But otherwise, yeah, I was going to have an inexpensive week, I thought. But then a lot of places had special Halloween offers, and I was weak and I fell for some of them. Oh well. Anyway, I also received 2 packages in the mail during the past week. The first one contained these guys. These are all first edition Malifaux. First off, we picked up a couple of more avatars. I like the avatar minis, even though Leviticus and Sonya are not masters that I have any plans at all of playing anytime in the, foreseeable future. I still like the avatar models, and I want to have them in my collection. I want to pick them up as soon as I can, of course, also because they're not going to be produced anymore. Then the rest of this is stuff that I might actually use. First off, we have some... we have a lot of Arcanist stuff. The mobile toolkit, the electrical creation, and the large steampunk arachnid. These are all constructs, of course. They're not useful with my current Arcanist Master, Marcus, but I am planning on doing, as I think I mentioned, a Karis crew and possibly a Ramos crew. And then, of course, these will be essential. And finally in this package, a couple of Outcast henchmen, Bishop and Rusty Alice. Rusty Alice, of course, goes with Leviticus, but I think she's could potentially be useful with other masters as well. And Bishop is, of course, generally considered one of the stronger models in the game. So that was that. The second package was a bit more varied. It also contained a bunch of Malifaux stuff. Most importantly, the Schemes and Strategies deck. Finally, this is finally back in print after being out of print for as long as I've played Malifaux. Which is only 6 months, but it's been completely unavailable for that whole time. But now we have it all in handy reference form. And yeah, so you can save yourself a bit of flipping through the rule book. And there's even a quick reference card for rules if you need it. Then I got one of my first... This is the first big crew box I've bought in plastic. You've seen me get a few individual minis in the new plastics, but this is the first crew box. And why Marcus? I already have Marcus, don't I? Well, yes, but it didn't have Kojo, because Kojo was never made in metal. And I could have bought Kojo separately, but I thought in this kit I also get a second Rattler and a second Sabertooth. And they are not unique models. I can field more than one if I want to, so it's actually useful to have extra models for them. And then you get another Marcus, another Miranda, another Jackalope, which are not as useful. They're just ultimate sculpts, which might be fun to paint. But all in all, I think the box, compared to buying these three separately, I think the box is a good deal. So why the heck not? And then there was some hobby stuff. I picked up some Static Grass. This is Gale Force 9's Winter/Dead Static Grass. I don't know, it looks pretty alive to me. It's kind of a brownish green. It's starting to die. It's not all the way dead. Oh well. And I picked up some brushes. These are the Army Painter small dry brush and large dry brush. And you can see that the specific thing about the Army Painter dry brushes is they have these flat tips. They're flat and both flat and angled. And I like these. I find these to be very, very useful. The flatness means that I can control them better, and also the angle also means that I can use like just the tip if I want to dry brush a very small area, or angle it and use the whole thing for a larger area. Of course, they wear out pretty quickly and they need to be replaced. Dry brushes are what I buy more than any other kind of brushes. I mean, my normal painting brushes that I use for layering and such, I take very good care of, and they last for years. But a dry brush, 6 months at most, and then I have to get new stuff. Well, that was it for this week. I want to thank you for watching all the way through this, if you did. And I'll wish you a good week, and hope to see you in my next video. Until then, I'm Dakian, and I'm signing off.